Hey, what's up, everyone? This is SnackBox. Hope you all had a great weekend. Guys, if you have a specific champion, this rotation of Amius is so easy, and I want to show you why. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe. And now let's get back to the video. So, let's see. In the current rotation, we can use champions from the Undead Hordes, from the Sacred Order, from the Ogrins, the Skinwalkers, and the High Elves. And in this rotation, if you have one specific champion, the boss becomes fairly easy, and that is Morrigaine. The reason why Morrigaine is so good is because of her passive, which places a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns every time she takes a turn. This debuff cannot be removed, transferred, spread, or have its duration increased or decreased by enemies or allies. So technically she puts this on Amius, and Amius can do absolutely nothing about it. So all you have to do with Morrigaine is get enough accuracy. So you need 475 accuracy. So that is all you need. Of course, you want a certain level of survivability, HP, and defense, so she doesn't get one shot every time she gets hit. But that's basically all you have to do with Morrigaine. On top of that, she also can boost turn meter, buff increase speed, and she has a speed aura in all battles, which is quite nice. She can also steal buffs, because sometimes we know Amius turns his debuffs into buffs, so you can definitely steal those buffs with this A2 from Morrigaine. I didn't want to talk too much about Morrigaine in this video. I just wanted to point that out. I think there are still some people that don't know that this passive exists, and Morrigaine is pretty much a MVP for this rotation. But I want to talk more about He-Man. Now, if you followed my content so far, you might know that I'm a huge fan of He-Man. I use him daily in the arena. I use him in one of my Hydra teams, not because he's the most efficient one, but because he's just fun for me, and he has some of the best gear I have on my account, and why not use him everywhere where I can, right? So that just makes sense for me. But yeah, as he's a Sacred Order champ, he's also usable in this rotation for Amius, and he does an amazing job. I just wanted to see how much damage he can do with his A3 on Amius. We all know it hits fairly hard if you stack this up. If you ramp it up, it can deal a lot of damage, and I was curious how much he would do on Amius. So basically my strategy was to place as many buffs as I can on He-Man, ramp this skill up, and then try to one-shot Amius. Now, this was actually the first team that I tried. It was Morrigaine, Siphi, Martyr, He-Man, and Cardiel. Now, I know this is not free-to-play friendly at all, but that's just what I used. So we got increased speed from Morrigaine, we got increased speed from Siphi, increased defense, block debuffs, increased defense from Martyr and counterattack, increased crit damage, crit rate, block debuffs, and revive on death from Cardiel, and He-Man buffs himself with strengthen and attack up. So we have a lot of buffs in here. We also have the decreased defense from Martyr. I was thinking about bringing Bellinor in for decreased defense and weaken, and I also tried another team after that which also worked without Morrigaine. So basically I used Arbiter instead of Morrigaine to bring that weaken in. But in the end, this team was faster because of the heal reduction, because Amius was not able to heal. And yeah, that team just worked better here, this one that I used. I think you can definitely exchange some of these champions. You want to make sure you have block debuffs for sure. You want to make sure you have some type of speed boosters. This is definitely not free-to-play friendly, as I said. It's also not, very, very end game. But I think a lot of people are able to do this if they have He-Man. Also, if you don't have He-Man, you can still play around Morrigaine. So Morrigaine makes this boss very, very easy. But the point here is to do as much damage as possible with He-Man. And this is what it looked like. Alright, so what we want to do here is, stack up as many buffs as possible, ramp up the damage from He-Man's A3, and because Morrigaine has the heal reduction every time she takes a turn, we will get Amius already to like 50% HP. So the goal basically is to kill Amius before he takes 4 turns, before he transforms into his alternate form. That is the goal. So we're gonna keep buffing as much as we can, use all the buffs we have. So it's very important to use the block debuffs for this stun here, for the A3 of Amius, because if we get stunned, we lose 1 turn of skill cooldown reduction, and then it throws everything off, basically. Alright, so as you can see, Amius is already like at 1/3 of his HP, or a little bit less, like 25%, something like that. We got a lot of buffs on He-Man. We got protected increased speed and increased defense from Siphi. We don't have that protected block debuffs, but we did place a lot of buffs on He-Man. I don't know how many, but we got a lot of buffs on him. We ramped up a lot of damage. We got the decreased defense on Amius, and now it's time to see how much damage can He-Man do. 700,000. Not so good, to be honest. I mean, there's like a little bit of damage left that we have to do. So maybe with like a couple more protected buffs, if I had Cardiel in protection, he would get the job done, to be honest. Or if we had Weaken in this team, maybe that would help to deal the last amount of damage that was missing. Either way, he did deal a good amount of damage, to be honest. And with MORRIGAINE, it doesn't really matter if Amius kills somebody here or not. He's not going to heal up because the heal reduction debuff is protected. So yeah, as you can see, we did 3 million damage with He-Man. He pretty much soloed it. I mean, Cardiel had like 600,000 damage. Martyr had like 400,000 damage, but that's like Warmaster procs, basically, right? So as you can see, the first time I tried this, actually, I got it done in 54 turns. Now I took like 58. So I think it's definitely possible to get it done in the first cycle of Amius before he swaps in the alternate form, but you gotta have more protection buffs on He-Man so he can deal more damage or have better gear, and the higher blessing might help as well. Crushing Rend, for example. The blessing I'm using on him is not ideal, but if you have a 6-star blessing for He-Man, Crushing Rend is definitely the way to go. But overall, I think He-Man is a really, really great damage dealer for this. But you have to keep in mind, without MORRIGAINE, this would take a little bit longer because Amius would heal up from time to time unless you bring in another heal reduction champion. So let me show you the builds on these champions real quick. So I'm gonna start off with He-Man. I'm using him daily in Live Arena. He has like some of the best pieces on my account. He's in a 4-piece stone skin set and a lethal set, and these are his stats: 73k HP, 5.4k attack. I would like to get around like another 1k attack on this guy, but I got him a little bit more tankier, and that actually helped him to survive sometimes in Live Arena. 224 speed, 100% crit rate, 340% crit damage, accuracy and resistance doesn't matter. I have the Cat's Gaze on him. It's just rank 3 at the moment, so I can definitely rank this up and get some better gemstones. I have these in here because I want him to deal more damage against targets that have shield in arena. This doesn't help at all for Amius, right? So the gemstones are not ideal. He's completely booked for sure. Life Harvest is also for arena. Doesn't really help here for Amius. If I would choose something for Amius, I would go with Soul Reap, or if I had a 6-star blessing, I would go with Crushing Rend. Then for masteries, I went with the offense tree and the defense tree, and I went with Helm Smasher. Now MORRIGAINE, all MORRIGAINE really needs is speed and accuracy. Nothing else, basically. Of course, you want some, HP and defense so she can survive some hits, but other than that, she doesn't really need anything. So you want to have her faster than 250 speeds, so she's faster than Amius. He's at 250, and then around 470 accuracy. That's what you want to have, so you can place the heal reduction, and also sometimes steal a buff if you have to. She doesn't need to be booked. That's the beauty about her. She doesn't need books at all. All you want her to do is to place that heal reduction from her passive, and she does that without being booked. She also doesn't need masteries. Now, of course, masteries help to get the accuracy up, and that way you can probably build up more speed. But other than that, she doesn't really need masteries. Then I use my Sifi in a 9-piece protection set. That's pretty much the same set I use in my Hydra team and in my Chimera team. So a 9-piece protection set, pretty much the fastest I have on this account, and she's at 371 speed. Then I have Cardiel. He's in like 3 speed sets, and I use Cardiel in my Fire Knight team. So I didn't really touch his build, but if I want to optimize this for Amius, I would put him in a 9-piece protection set as well. So he's at 54k HP, 4.6k attack, 3.2k defense, 311 speed, 100% crit rate, 240% crit damage, and accuracy and resistance doesn't matter. No relic, he's booked, he has Phantom Touch for Fire Knight, doesn't really matter for Amius, and he has War Master. And then we have Martyr here. She's normally in the bolster set for my Fire Knight team, but here I swapped some gear around, like 2 pieces, to get more accuracy, so I can place a decreased defense on her A1. For Fire Knight, I don't need that much accuracy. So she's at 56k HP, 4.2k defense, 264 speed, 58% crit rate, not ideal. Ideally, I would want to be at like 70% crit rate because Cardiel buffs crit rate, right? Like 30% crit rate is what he buffs, so you can go to like 70 and then be perfectly fine. 222 crit damage, and then 473 accuracy. That's pretty much all I cared about. I wanted her to be faster than Amius and have enough accuracy so she can place a decreased defense. No relic. She definitely needs to be booked. I use faultless defense for Fire Knight, so it doesn't really matter for Amius. And I got War Master on her. Now, if you're looking for a replacement for Morrigaine, if you don't have Morrigaine and you're looking for a heal reduction champion, there are quite a few options. Now, I probably don't have all of them, but these are the ones that I have. So there is Little Miss Annie, for example. She places heal reduction on her A1. It does need to be booked if you want it to be more consistent, but it's a triple hit. So each hit has a 50% chance of placing 100% heal reduction debuff and also a big version of decreased defense. Now, if you book that, it will go up to 75% and be more consistent, but still 50% on a triple hit is pretty nice. You might get away with not booking her. Then she buffs herself with increased attack and ignores defense, so she's definitely a really good option if you need a damage dealer that can also place a heal reduction debuff. She does a great job. Then you have Archbishop Pintroy, which is kind of a support, and he can also place heal reduction. So on his A2, he places increased accuracy on all allies, and then he attacks and places heal reduction and block buffs for 2 turns. And the good thing about this, it doesn't need to be booked. It only needs to be booked if you want to place that block buffs debuff. If you just want to go for the heal reduction, you don't need to book this. But if you need the cooldown reduction of this skill, then you need to book it, right? Like it's a 4-turn cooldown without being booked, and you can book it down to 3 turns. He can also heal your allies, place increased defense and shield, and he is pretty much immune to decreased defense and weaken debuffs, so that is pretty nice. So he can keep your allies alive and place heal reduction. So if you need more survivability in your team, he's the one. Then you also have Suzerain here. He's kind of a very old champion, and he can place weaken and decrease defense on his A2. It's kind of a weird chance here because you can book it up to 100% chance of placing weaken, but the decreased defense will still have a 75% chance. So it's kind of like not consistent enough, right? But he can place the heal reduction on his A3, which is quite nice. And the good thing about this champion is he also doesn't need to be booked. Now, he is a little bit squishy, but he can enable a lot of damage with the decreased defense and the weaken, and also provides the heal reduction. Now, as you can see, there are also a couple of epics. You can definitely look into them. Missionary has a heal reduction skill on his A3, also needs to be booked. Corpse Collector also has a heal reduction skill on the A2, is also a 100% chance and needs to be booked to place it consistently. Also, she, can put some poisons up, which also help to kill Amius faster. So Corpse Collector is actually not a bad option. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I think there's definitely a lot of options on how to beat Amius in this rotation. But if you have MORRIGAINE, you're going to have an easy fight here. It's not going to be a hard one for sure. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed and see you in the next one.